Hello everyone. Welcome to another cup draw video for the PCN. Gotta say it just like I do on the old school YouTube recordings. Here with me today to do this round of 32 cup draw is Scarata. Say hello.
Hello.
So we are here after an action-packed first round the other night. Don't think there were any super crazy upsets. We'll go through that real quickly in a second. Look at some of the results from the other night, and then we'll get to the cup draw. And then if you guys want to stay tuned, we have Team of the Week 1 ready to go. So we will be talking about that for a little bit. You ready to get this thing started?
Let's get it rolling.
Alrighty. So first, let's look through a few of the games from the other night. So if you come here onto the League Republic page, you can obviously see all of the information. So there's still one game needs to be played. It'll be played Sunday, I believe, between Braga and Villarreal. But let's look real quick at who we got so far. So Atalanta, after beating them in the league, was able to take care of Monaco. They beat them 3-0 in the cup. Barcelona beat Newcastle 1-0. Leverkusen beat 23-1. Liverpool over Dortmund 4-1. Fiorentina took care of Roma in pens 5-4. Bit of trash talk in that one, I imagine. I did watch the Arsenal LAFC game, 1-0, really good game. Could have gone either way, Scarata.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't there. I was learning about how GSCI and grounding rods now have interlacing capabilities. But other than that, I talked about it with some of the guys in the LAFC camp, and they obviously were disappointed by the result. Definitely thought we could have moved on in the cup, but it was against a very good Arsenal side that have definitely been putting in a ton of performances here early on in the season.
Yep. Yeah, so that was a good one. We'll try to get some of these streamed, obviously, for everyone else as we go in the tournament. Next matchup was Spurs 3-0 over Leicester. Napoli 3-0 over Frankfurt. New York City lost 2-0 to Lyon. We had America in extra time beating PSV. That was the old Daddy Aikens' old team getting one up on them. PSG 5-2 over Marseille. I think the most goals they've scored in any game by a bit of a distance this season. Maybe gets them going a little bit. Porto 2-1 over LA Galaxy. RB Leipzig 1-0 win over Young Boys. Santa Clara took care of Inter Miami in pens. Schalke 2-1 over Feyenoord. Ajax 1-0 over Sporting in added. I never know if I want to say added or extra time.
After extra time.
Yeah, after extra
I
time.
got you.
Another case of a former manager getting one up on his old team. Yana's over there getting that extra time win. Valencia 4-3 pen win over West Ham. Manu only 1-0 over Wolfsburg. That was a Wolfsburg that just came in, so it's a pretty good showing by them. Bayern 2-0 over Wolves. Atletico 3-1 over Everton. And the one result that's on the next page, I don't remember the final score, but Crystal Palace lost to Seattle.
Yeah, 1-0 in that one.
Yeah, Seattle's only win in the last little bit. So, yeah. So 10 teams got a bye from the first round. I know a few people were freaking out when I did the last round. They're like, oh my god, we're not in the cup. Like, no, if you read the information, it explains who gets a bye. So we now come over here to the randomizer. We've got all 32 teams in. Obviously, it'll be a one at a time draw. Can play anybody. We could have the two top teams in Super League play. We could have two teams in League Two play. So that's how it goes. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and run this sucker. First team out will be Fiorentina, promoted from League Two, having a decent time so far in League One, a little bit up and down, but not doing too bad. And they'll be getting that winner of Braga and Villarreal.
Should be an interesting matchup. Obviously, a Braga side that has maybe not lived up to last season's expectations, but a Fiorentina team that is probably on par with what many have felt they should be doing this season in League One. Looking at defensive woes of late, but obviously I'm sure they'll be looking to turn those around.
Yep, and could be potential for another little bit of a Fiorentina Cup run after, of course, they upset my AC Milan last season, so we'll have to see who they get and how they do. Next team will be Benfica. A little bit of a slow start, but they're obviously getting it together there in Super League. And they'll be getting fellow Super League side Bayer Leverkusen. Definitely, I think I'd consider Benfica the favorite in that one, but Leverkusen are just a solid team all the way through.
Yeah, Leverkusen are one of those teams that they can beat anybody at any time out. I mean, they have the quality in the side, really, to get this Benfica side on their back foot. But as you said, this Benfica team starting to find its legs, especially in the league, and are beginning to claw their way back up the table. Obviously, back-to-back Super League title winners. Don't let anyone get that off of stone. But yeah, that should be a good matchup between two pretty good sides.
Yep, that's a good one so far. Next up is Arsenal. Team obviously to beat LA last round. Really good start Super League. They've been falling a little bit as they play tougher teams, and they'll be facing a team moving the other way up in the table, Real Madrid, who started really slow but have been picking things up. So that's a really fun one in terms of a team that started hot and is cooling down, and one that started cool and heating up.
Yeah, obviously Real Madrid, as you said, not getting off to the greatest of starts, but they've definitely rebounded, and it's actually 8-9 in the table right now, playing each other. And you look at these two teams on paper, and they're pretty even all around the park. So this could be definitely one to watch for.
Yeah. Next up will be Chelsea. We're getting a lot of these Super League teams going. Obviously, they are also, I think, maybe 10th or 11th right now in Super League, kind of
sitting 11.
Finding their way out, and they're playing an RB Leipzig team. They've had some pretty good results so far in League One. Not consistent enough to be in the guaranteed promotion spot or anything, but I think they're doing all right so far.
Yeah, Leipzig are having themselves a nice little run, a very sit back, hit on the counter side, and it's definitely worked at times. They've ground them out down in League One against the Chelsea side that may not have. Huh.
Both teams kind of play similar.
Yeah. Chelsea are again one of those teams, obviously with chronic and attack, can never ignore at striker. But no, that should be another good one to watch.
Indeed. Another team, Man City, who I swear AC Milan always play in the cup. So if they're the next team out, it will not shock me one bit. It will be Lazio, in fact, though. A couple teams down in the bottom six, I believe, right now in Super League. Lazio, of course, had a bit of a turnover from last season. I think Ace wasn't quite ready for. I think he's ready now, but I think he wasn't quite ready for so many people that left. And then Man City, not quite as good as the last couple seasons, but they're still one of the toughest teams every single game day. And I think they'll get things going as they go throughout the season. And they made the playoffs
Yeah,
obviously last season.
I think this could be one of those games for both teams that, when they look at it, are going to be looking to use this game to start to kick into gear in Super League. Just have one of those results saying, right, this is what we can do against teams. Let's go and do that. And uh, I think both teams right now really need that sort of game.
Yeah. Next up is going to be Spurs, who are doing all right. They're also kind of in that just outside of the top six mix. Jigsaw coming in, rebuilding that team, and they'll be taking on Juventus, who I believe they played in a marquee matchup, if I'm not wrong.
They were featured on the same night. They did not play in a marquee matchup.
Okay.
Uh, both teams featured on the opening night of the season.
Yes.
But
But either way,
P5, P5.
yeah, they're two good teams.
Yeah, obviously Spurs level on points with Benfica right now. They Spurs look like a team that again is one of those teams that has the quality, hasn't maybe shown that quality at times, but they'll definitely be looking to get ahead of that is really in the same boat. We seem to be having a common theme here against teams with sort of the same script so far this season.
Yeah. Not a
And
ton of mismatches so far in this draw.
no, it's actually really nice to see. But yeah, no, definitely another matchup that I'll be looking forward to.
Yep. Next up is going to be current League One leaders Valencia. That high-powered offense clicking once again. The defense looking solid as usual, and they'll be taking on Napoli, who are one of many teams in the League Two promotion mix. I don't know if anyone has really looked in depth at the League Two table, but it looks like a lot of fun this season. There's so many. There's not one team running away with it, and Napoli are one of those teams that are maybe surprising a little bit. I see all the AOs have been here in the chat, so shout out to you guys. Got a bit of a tough matchup in the next round against Valencia.
Yeah, that AO gang is going to have its hands. League Two and League One are in similar boats this season. It's probably only Valencia who could be considered clear favorites to get promotion out of League One. There's going to be multiple teams in both League One and League Two kicking themselves that they didn't at least make playoffs. But yeah, Valencia is a side with a high-powered attack with Death Row and Mamba. Back for their second season, I believe, with Valencia, if not their third.
Yeah, so they promoted League Two, won League Two, almost won
Yep.
Master from League One, going at it once again. So yeah, that's a bit of a mismatch, but it's a chance for Napoli to kind of prove themselves against a little bit of a higher team.
And yeah, and I mean, if they even go out 1-0 or take it to pens, can easily be seen as a confidence booster for most of the side.
Yeah.
Valencia is not an easy team to beat.
They are not. We got a 5-0 Valencia and a 7-0 Valencia in the chat. We'll see about that. Next team out, though, is going to be League Two Ajax, and they'll be taking on Bayern Munich, who was kind of a mystery going into the season because I think they waited till like the Saturday before the season started to sign their players. But they've had a pretty decent start of their season. I think they're in the top half looking for promotion. So
yeah, they're definitely one of those teams again on the promotion bubble in League One, if you want to call it that. But and yeah, it was like the day before that they had all their signings put in. So definitely a team put together last second, but they've been holding their own in League One in a very, I don't want to say top heavy, but there's good teams all around. You could name half of that league that is of Super League quality and could easily be in Super League.
Yep. Yeah, so it's interesting. It's also a couple teams. Well, Bayern had a bit of a cup run last season, and then Giannis with Sporting had a bit of a cup run too. So we'll see if one of those teams can get to the round of 16 and maybe beyond.
Yeah,
Um,
and I
next,
think Giannis has his Ajax team playing very well. They're holding their own down there in League Two, looking for automatic promotion in another tough league this season.
yep. And speaking of automatic promotion, something I think they desperately want to get because they don't want to go back to the playoff because of what happened last year. We're going to talk about it every time until they get promoted. Barcelona, of course. Who could it be? Doing well right now, League Two. I don't. I think the last time I looked, they may have. If they're not top of the table, they're in the top two or three
I
still.
believe they're top right now.
Yeah, and they're going to take a PSG team on, which obviously had a League Two team in the last round and took care of them. But I think PSG are about where most people thought they would. They're not in the relegation, but they're also not really challenging in that top half right now. And then Barcelona are where people thought they would be in League Two. So that's always my fun matchups is sort of a higher end maybe League Two team and sort of a struggling Super League team.
Yeah, it'll be a matchup of who can really just keep their head in the game because obviously if you're PSG, you're looking at yourselves, right? We have another League Two side, but this one could maybe pose a little bit more of a challenge for Stay High's team. So definitely, as you said, an interesting matchup between a lower tiered Super League team and a one on the ascendancy in League Two.
Yeah, and I think combined, those are those two managers have more years of experience managing than PCN has been around. So good to see those guys get a chance to go at each other. Next up is going to be Schalke. Got a new team management in about a week and a half ago now, and they've actually been playing pretty well. So obviously they won their cup game, and they'll be taking on a Seattle team, which they said some stuff on that last podcast, and I think they maybe regretted it because they've been a bit of a funk. Although they did get that win against Crystal Palace to move on and to this next round.
Yeah, Seattle getting hit once again with the podcast curse. Seems to be happening all too often now. But they're playing a Schalke team that is there's they may not look half decent on paper, but they are a stingy team that works well together. In if everything's right for them, they can really have a go at a team. So definitely don't look at Schalke as the underdogs here. I'd say they're about even on paper.
Yep. Two teams I think we'll know more about in a few weeks by the end of the season than we do right now. Next up is America, who's having a pretty decent little go of it. Obviously, I mentioned last time manager got one on his old team PSV, and they'll be getting Orlando in the next round. It's a bit of a tough matchup for them. I think that's the first real, I think on paper mismatch you would say. Like not that America are a bad team, but just that Orlando clearly, was the cream of the crop in League One last season and has been getting better each week in Super League. So that'll be a tough one for America.
Yeah, Orlando's sitting in that fourth position right now in Super League. They've beaten already a lot of the higher tiered sides. Definitely going to be an uphill climb. Definitely an uphill climb for their opponents, and it is probably our first mismatch here in this round. But I mean, America could, you never know in a cup. It's one and done.
I've seen it too many times where the top team doesn't take it as seriously or they don't have everyone on, and little guys make a good run of it. So we'll have to see next week. Next team out is going to be Atalanta, who obviously had a good win over Monaco the other day in the cup, and they'll be taking on Lyon, who were up, I think, about where I at least expected them to be in Super League. Having some good results and then some strange results on the other end, and just kind of they're good, but they're lacking the consistency, and so that could trip them up. I think against Atalanta in the cup.
Yeah, I think starting with that, actually a quality side down in League One that maybe hasn't even hit their peak yet. So I think Roberto will be having his boy Leon saying, right, let's get at these and don't give them much space. Obviously, a Leon side filled with players that do like to jaw in the Discord, but Um, they have backed that up at times, gave Atlanta a run for their money in the Royal Cup. Um, However, a team that it seems to be suffering availability and just simply consistency issues, as you mentioned. So we'll definitely see how that one goes. It could either go really either way. Another even matchup, in my opinion.
Yep, that's one that would not shock me if it goes to extra time in some capacity. Next up will be Atletico Madrid, looking for promotion from League Two this season, playing pretty well, and they'll be taking on a Liverpool team. This is another one, kind of like the PSG and Barca matchup, where you're seeing a team that's struggling, and this team's struggling a little bit more. Liverpool had a really brutal, just like 2 or 3 first game days with their schedule, and they did not play well, and it's kind of just sent them into a little bit of a spiral. So, has a chance for Atletico to move on, get into that round of 16 potentially.
Yeah, I think you talked about Liverpool. I think they played almost every team inside within their first 2 weeks. So um, definitely a difficult run in for the season. It hasn't gone well for Rowdy and his troops, but they'll be one of those teams looking for a rebound game here against Atletico Madrid, who have played pretty well at times. They've been somewhat inconsistent in League Two, but they do find themselves higher up the table. So it could be a really interesting game, especially if Liverpool want to play as they have previously. Then we could be seeing a League Two team knock off a Super League team.
Yep. We will have to see. Next up is current Super League leaders Atlanta United, and there's 3 really potentially juicy matchups in here. Will they get one of them? They will. So we're going to have Atlanta United and Manchester United, 2 teams currently playing very well. Manchester United's defense has been like I don't we played
Unreal.
it was stupid. Like it felt like everybody on their team was just gigantic and was in the way of everything at all times. And obviously, when we played at Atlanta AC Milan, we drew 2-2. We're up 2-0 in like the 70 something minute. They got one then, and they got one back in the dying seconds of added time. So that was we could have given them their first loss of the season. We didn't. But obviously, it's an Atlanta team that has really, they thought they were title contenders. They're backing it up, and Man U said they were going to be better, and they are. So this is the first real heavyweight matchup we've had so far.
Yeah, you talked about this United defense, and that is what this team is built around with Logan and Peanut in that back line. But they'll be playing a Atlanta United team that many didn't pick to be first place, maybe at this point in the season, maybe at all. They know. You talked about how you guys at AC Milan were down 2-0. They came back, drew 2-2. Again, still haven't lost this season in Super League and have played most of the teams inside the top 6, if not all of them already. So definitely going to be a very interesting matchup against 2 very well put together defenses.
Yep. And we've got a very interesting last group of 4 here. The chat is going off saying "Rip Porto." I think any of these would be a tough matchup. I'm sitting here looking at the 2 Milan saying, are we going to have another Milan derby?
Ooh.
Well, Milan first. So we got a 1-in-3 chance here. And it's going to be Santa Clara, actually. So big rip for Porto, but let's talk about this matchup first. So, we're figuring things out at Milan slowly but surely. Who knows how good we can get if we get back to the old levels, or if we're just going to be sort of a solid team this year. And Santa Clara obviously started really well, had a couple, results go against them, but then they've kind of been bouncing back. So, I'm excited for that one as a player on Milan.
Yeah, I think AC Milan are going to be the favorites here, even though they've underperformed in Super League so far. They'll be one of those teams where you just look at them and say they should be better than what they are, and they'll be looking to assert their dominance here against the Santa Clara side that, with their original schedule, those first couple game days, lower half teams. Now, unfortunately for them, they're starting to run into more of those teams that are going for promotion and running into some issues. So I think both teams again could use this game to their advantage to really get back on.
Yep. Which means our final matchup is going to be Intermon. They will be hosting Porto. So that's, we talked about the Orlando and somebody was a mismatch.
Was it America?
Potentially, yes. So I
I believe
think
it
that
was.
this is now you're getting a little bit more. Inter obviously I think are still one of the favorites to win Super League, and Porto are I think they're maybe in that promotion mix. I don't think they're at the top end of it in League Two, but that's gonna be I'd like to follow that one along if I can and just see if they can put up a fight.
Yeah, you mentioned Porto currently on the outside looking in that promotion picture in League Two. They've put together some decent results, maybe not um, performed how they wanted, but they'll be going against an Inter Milan side 5 points off of first place Atlanta United in Super League, and yeah, it's probably only one thing you can say about that draw is just unlucky for Porto, and again, anything can happen on a cup night. You never know. It's that's why it's called FIFA.
Indeed. So these matchups will be updated. Yeah, probably in the next hour or two. We gotta finish this draw, get team of the week out and all that, but that'll be up soon, obviously, so you can officially see who you're playing. But that's the round of 32 draw. I'm excited for it. I think with the league just getting deeper and deeper in every league, it means that these matchups there's more and more matchups that earlier are interesting.
Yeah, I think we saw only two matchups that were really um, lopsided. I think everything else was looked pretty competitive, at least on paper. So it should definitely be a great round.
Yep. So without further ado, that's our cup draw. But let's go ahead and show off this week one team of the week. Like I said, things have been scary around here in PCN. We've had monsters crawling out. We had to go steal the team of the week. We had it all ready to go. He just stole it, ran away with it. And last night he had his fun, he had his partying, and now he decided to give it back to us. So without further ado, I'm gonna stop saying that. Team of the week one for Super League. So starting in net, the one and only APOC from Atlanta. Really good week from him. Uh, Filling out the defense at left back, You Don't Vape from Atlanta. Footy, also from Atlanta. King Solar from PSG. And Bellerin from Arsenal. In the midfield, we've got Dad Job and Sabinator at defensive mid. Sabinator is our player of the week. In the attacking midfield, Stu at Ram from Orlando. We've got Schmerda, Lamb from Atlanta, and we've got Goatless from Atlanta at Cam as well. Striker up top, leading the line, is B God from Manu. Looking at the bench, we have got Luca Brasi from Chelsea, Brickwall Willis from Dortmund. We've got Tamori from Benfica. I think that is Congre from Inter. It's a little cut off on my screen and your screen. Sorry. And then we've got Cozy from AC Milan, Tebow from Orlando, and Talentless from Atlanta. So obviously a big Atlanta theme here going on. Obviously leading the line here early in Super League, and lots of people in Team of the Week.
Yeah, I mean, again, as we mentioned during the cup draw, top of the table, and they haven't lost yet. So their defense has been a big part of it. I know in the Atlanta chat, APOC has been complaining that he hasn't gotten enough saves because his defense isn't allowing enough shots. So the other team can't score when they don't shoot, and that defense is a huge part of it. And then obviously King Solar, one of the standouts from a maybe struggling PSG side. I believe he came from League Two last season, and actually had himself a pretty decent World Cup and got himself big spot, and he's made the most of it. So, I mean, well done to him. He's had a pretty nice start, and then Bellerin as well, right back for Arsenal, aptly named. Um,
Yeah.
a solid shift for Arsenal, who got off to that fantastic start. Um, and then moving into the midfield, obviously Sabinator, player of the week, rightfully so. The man has been on an absolute tear. 10 games already, 49 interceptions.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, that's
I think so. The last two seasons, I've actually started off with similar numbers, and people were like looking at me like, "What the fuck is going on? How are you doing that?" And actually, when we get to another player in League One, has had similar numbers to this. And sometimes you just get a defensive mid. As a defensive mid, like you just get into the zone those first couple weeks when everyone else is still feeling it out, and you just go ham and you just get the ball. And so that's been Sabinator, and I think Arsenal would not have gotten off to the start they did without him being in that kind of form.
no, absolutely not. Good DMs are always a part of a successful attack and a successful defense. So, but alongside him, Dad Job putting up almost similar numbers. One less interception, but Sabinator with a few more tackles than Dad Job. Obviously, Real Madrid not getting off to the greatest of starts, but they've definitely rebounded, and Dad Job has been a big part of it, being their manager as well. Stu at Orlando, big part of their success so far, putting in a lot of service into that box, as does Schmerda and Goatless with Atlanta. Always getting the ball to Talentless's feet, who is on the bench for this team of the week. But B got up top for Manchester United. They're a defensive team, but in order to win, that they did.
Yep, and on the bench, Luca has been a big reason why Chelsea have stayed in kind of where they are in the table. I think he's he had a really good season in League One last season. I was curious. He was one of the people I think I kept talking about at the end of last season. I was like, I want to see what this guy can do, next season, and he's been proven early on as one of the best keepers in Super League.
Yeah, I mean, 41 saves so far.
But not giving, but keeping clean sheets and not conceding a lot of goals. I think he had the best. I think save to goal allowed ratio early on. And then that said, those center back spots were extremely tight. I think there was like 6 or 7 people we were trying to break it down. So the two that did get it were Tomori, obviously, formerly Wanyama at Benfica, and then Brickwall. Enough people were just like, hey, you know what? Their team isn't playing super great, but it's not his fault. He's been doing everything he can. So
Yeah,
really well done by
and
him.
and he was definitely a big reason as to why Dortmund even got through the promotion playoffs. And he's done himself well in Super League. Obviously, Dortmund really struggling early on, but he's much like Solar has been some of the lone bright spots in their teams.
Yep. I really apologize that Congra got cut off. He obviously will not be when we post this. I'm not going to try to mess too much with my OBS because I'm not an expert and I don't want to break it, but he had a big reputation coming into PCN, and I can tell you from playing against him one game and from everything I've seen, he's legit. He is definitely one of the best defensive mids in the league. And I was a little surprised, actually, that Cozy, he's had a really good start, but I was surprised that he actually did get voted in. Been one of the few things that really was been clicking for us early on is him stepping into that cam role vacated by Voles and really, really playing well.
Yeah, I mean, again, AC Milan not off to the with you guys, but obviously playing with Cozy and Phalanx and all of that, he's his vision and his ability to just find that pass that no one else can see is absolutely incredible.
Yep.
He can definitely play that ball that cuts everything open the other team and just lead. Um,
And then Tebow and Talentless. Talentless, of course, part of that really good Atlanta attack. And then Tebow, who I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe he was part of that Season 8 Orlando team. And he's found his way back there again. And he's put in the goals, obviously. He's got a bit of a reputation as well. So Big shout out to everyone who has made our first Team League for Super League. So this was, just for clarification, in case anyone was curious, this was for game days between the 13th and the 23rd. So we'll be getting, after next Wednesday's games, we'll have another Team of the Week cycle started. Hopefully, we don't have a bunch of Halloween nonsense that makes it take as long as it did this time. Um, but that's the Super League Team of the Week. Any final thoughts?
No, it's a tight season at the top of the table, and these players, especially those from outside of that top of the table, have been absolutely key to their success, and well done to them.
Yep. All right, so we'll move on and look at League One. So League One, it looks like we might have everyone on there. Um, So starting us off in net with just the most ridiculous, I think some of the most ridiculous stats I've seen for a goalie in a 2 week period ever. Trev Misser from Monaco, a ton of saves, almost nothing conceded, really good for him. Moving to right back, we've got Young Boys 6 Wad, and over on the other fullback spot is Large Mighty Cow, which is also one of my new favorite gamer tags in PCN. We've also got another animal back there, leading Club America, Exotic Tiger, who's not been around for a while, but it's a name I like to see coming up again. And then Matty Dot stepping down, obviously, from Atlanta last season, helping at Wolves with all of them. Well, speaking of really dominant CDMs, that Slays 6, he's had a pretty crazy season early on for Atalanta. Joining him in the midfield is Love Welty, who's been playing mainly left mid. He's played some cam. We wanted to fit him in the starting lineup, so center mid was the spot. Another player who's come back from the dead. So I'm really happy to see him playing well. Rounding out the midfield is another, or the first of a couple LAFC players. That's going to be Air Jesus. Really good play from him, cleaning things up. And then Expect Bills over on the right wing. He's been a creative force. Left wing and striker, who else could it be? Mamba and Death Row. Death Row is our player of the week. And then on the bench, we've got Pure Vegetable from Wolves. Really happy to see him playing regularly and playing well. Lycan, who went from Wolves to Valencia early on, has kept up his form, gets himself a team of the week. We've got Monkey Stinks from LA, who gets himself a team of the week, one of those three in that 3-5-2 over there. And then the midfielders, we've got QF Coutinho from Young Boys, Saul Goodman making his midfield team of the week debut from Valencia, and then we've also got Smoke Break and Roberto, two managers sitting right next to each other, rounding out this team. So chat has been going. I haven't been looking at it, but I've just seen like in the corner of my eye the chat has just been going a little crazy. So
So Saul saying, "Gimmick can listen when you have Mamba and Death Row at striker, you will get assists. I don't care from where."
and I think your stats have been putting you in at Cam, so that's something we can talk about after. But regardless, you've been playing well over there.
But yeah, obviously Trev putting up just ridiculous numbers. 3 goals against, 41 saves. I have no idea if someone wants to run the math and figure out what to. What, like 9?
14-1.
That's over 9. It's 14. Oh my god. Yeah, definitely not excited to play him on Sunday. He's definitely probably the best goalkeeper right now in League One. 6 Wad at Young Boys joined alongside his counterpart, Large Mighty Cow, the best gamer tags in PCN. That fullback partnership.
I do think we could actually make both of their gamer tags better. We could have Large Mighty Wad and 6 Cow. Just
Yes.
But
hey, my name's 6Cow. Anyway, no, those two guys playing Young Boys. I believe they gave us our second losses. Definitely, they enjoy getting in the attack. They enjoy coming back and defending the fullbacks. Definitely keep them on your radar for the rest of the season. Matty Dot, again, as you said, coming down from Atlanta. So they're immediately at Wolves, putting in a shift there. and doing pretty well for himself. Obviously, Wolves maybe not where they want to be in the table right now, but it's so 6 points between first and eighth or something like that. It's absolutely ridiculous at the top. I mean,
Yep.
let me see here. Wolves certainly sitting in sixth. Yeah, 8 points off. So I mean, there's nothing saying that they can't make a run at League One automatic promotion in America with being anchored by Exotic Tiger. Again, a class player. Definitely one of those League One players himself into a team and makes a name for himself. Whether he sticks around with America after this season, we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, and then up at Atalanta, like Slay's dropping down to League One again. Signed for Atlanta, but the plan was always to loan him out, and obviously he's found a bit of a home at Atalanta. And then Welty basically didn't. I don't even think he bought FIFA 19. He was a player I played a lot with back in FIFA 17, FIFA 18. He was part of those old Milan teams. Got a Team of the Year at left back, the first ever Team of the Year. And he's come back and he started out at left mid and then he's moved to Cam recently and he's just been playing really well. So really happy to see that. Actually, I've got a number of former teammates in here. Jesus I played with as well as I played with Bills at Bayern season 8. And they're both now at LAFC playing together. And Jesus has kind of transitioned. He used to be a center back, and he's kind of transitioned to a full time CDM. Seems to be playing really well there. And then Bills, obviously, you've seen him on the wing, you've seen him at striker. Seems to really be kind of coming into his own the longer he plays in PCN too.
Yeah, Jesus has been a huge part to our success. Obviously, coming down from Atlanta as well, but his ability to and he always seems to be in the right position. And then obviously with Bills, started out at striker. We had a few new signings come in, right Saul, and we moved him out to right mid, and he's been absolutely cooking defenders out there. He's probably our most creative player at times, and that ability out on a wing is just an absolute privilege to have. And then obviously our two people we seem to always be mentioning when we do these team of the weeks, team of the seasons, Mamba and Death Row, just playing off of each other. How we limited them in our game to only one goal between the two of them, don't ask me.
Yeah, they are
But
they are deadly, and
they are
it
strike force.
yeah, it seems like every season too, the formation gets tweaked a little bit, and but it always seems like Mamba's a little bit more of the creative hub, and Death Row is just the pure clinical finisher. So I'm just really excited to see them continue to play in League One for Valencia, and just as a neutral, I'd really love for them to get promoted, and I'd love to see what those two can do in Super League because this is 3 seasons in a row now that they've been in League Two and then League One and League One, and they've proven it beyond doubt that they are like as good as you can get for this level. So would really love to see them be able to get up to Super League next season. And looking at the bench real quick, we've got Veggie, obviously very experienced goalie, went down to League One to help out Wolves. He's been doing what he can there. Lycan's very experienced left back. Like I said earlier, he started the season at Wolves. Don't know what exactly happened, but he ended up at Valencia. He's now a regular over there. And then Monkey, your teammate, who I played with at the World Cup at Wales. Good to see him getting a team of the week at center back.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those players that has definitely taken a step forward, and me and him are always bouncing ideas off of each other. And um, a lot of times with us, it's not always down ability, but our ability to have teamwork with each other and with our midfield has been really key to that success, and he needs to do to get himself a team of the week. Really happy for him there.
Yep. Moving in the midfield, Coutinho, I think had a couple League One team of the weeks last season as well. I think he was in the team of the season consideration. So consistent performer there now at Young Boys. And then Saul, whether he played cam, center mid, center back, left out, commentator, he was team of the week worthy this week. So that's fair play to him. First time I think he's played regularly in the midfield since he's been in PCN, so it's never an easy transition. And then up top, Smoke Break has made that big build work. There was doubt if it would, but he's made it work, it seems. And then Roberto, former Super League Golden Boot winner, manager of Atalanta. Obviously, those two have been putting in the goals.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, playing that totem pole build has worked for him again this FIFA, and he's built his strike force around him in a way that allows, and that's what you need. And then Roberto, I'm not too happy with. Dive got me sent off. Cheers for that, Roberto. But anyway, a fantastic player, a great striker, definitely will be up there in the goal scoring charts for his Atalanta side.
Yep. So that is our first team of the week for League One. Looking forward to putting out a few more of these. Got to throw a quick save the whales in there. Saw you throw it out there, J-Lip. So always, forever, save the whales. So that'll do it for League One. We got one more to go. So let's go ahead and show the League Two Team of the Week 1. So starting off in net, just like it was last season, we have a Barcelona goalkeeper. This time it's not Snowboarder. It is Principe. It's my best judge of that one. Looking at the back line, we do have a 3-5-2 here in League Two. So we've got Double, who's kind of played left back and center back, I believe, for Barcelona. Camper Grande, also from Barcelona, and then TR Shade from West Ham. CDMs, we've got Nabi and High Danger. Right mid, left mid, we've got Formaggio, formerly Cream Cheese, over there at Roma. And we've got Killer Wedgie, who pops up about every couple of seasons. And he's found Marseille as his home this season. And Cam is going to be Ao John, the manager from Napoli. And then up top in the striker spots are John Dilla of Marseille. Recently became the Wolfsburg manager, but he got himself a team of the week before he moved up. And then Strikehouse Goblin is our player of the week from Roma. Another player that I think just needs to get up there and prove himself at a higher level. He's been very, very good. On the bench, we have got Jeepers, a player who's bounced around a bit. I think he's definitely good enough for League Two level. He's proven himself at the Super League level at times. He's from Atletico, been holding it down at goalie. We've got Big Bad Chubb from PSV and Papi Macchiato from Roma as the defenders on the bench. We've got Harry Pickle, the Roma, very quiet, never controversial Roma manager at CDM, along with K-City, Marseille's Cam. And then up top, we've got Ao Finch from Napoli, and Principe also played striker. Yes.
I believe it's a different player. Porto?
I believe there's been a slight error with the player on the team of the week, and we will fix that before we make it official.
But nonetheless, obviously, player of the week in League Two, Strikers Goblin, as you said, and correct in the assumption that he does need to really get up there and put up the numbers. He could definitely find himself on a Super League team, whether it be, anytime this season or the next. But he's definitely a quality player that's taking the step down to League Two. Let's see. I'm just looking around here. Jeepers, obviously, always in discussions for whether it be in Super League or League Two. He's taking the step down this season. Let's see.
Real quick, it is Fnatic Cobra, the goalie from Barcelona. I should have recognized that off the bat. But it's Fnatic Cobra in goalie. We will obviously fix that before we get it out.
I was almost hoping we did the cup draw that I hadn't looked at the cup results, but I knew we were doing the cup draw. I was hoping for a Seattle Roma matchup, but my wish did not get granted, unfortunately. But anyway, obviously Roma off to a pretty solid start by their standards, and Barcelona as well, having their two defenders put up some pretty solid numbers 14 interceptions for Camper Grande and Double, respectively. Obviously, in goalkeeper, they have another Team of the Week player as well. So definitely a Barcelona defense that is not to be brushed off.
Yep. Yeah, that's the thing is Barcelona had that really strong defense last year, and it's a lot of it has changed. I think Li Fong, if I'm right, is the only. I think the right back is the only one who's returned from that. At least the back line and goalie. But clearly, King Snow is able to find these defenders, and then a couple for me that stand out. Formaggio, cream cheese. First of all, I'm impressed that he stuck with Formaggio this long. Cream cheese. But I would like to see him at least in League One. I think he's proved himself at least on that level. But it's good to see him playing well wherever he is. And then Killer Wedgie, I think his first season was season 4 or 5. Bounced around here and there, but always a good guy. He used to be a manager, and good to see him getting a team of the week. And then obviously you see John Dilla, like I said, played well for Marseille, but decided to move up and take a management job. And then Strikehouse Goblin, I believe, maybe getting recalled to League One as well. So a couple, you're already seeing some players. Usually it's interesting. Usually you see throughout the season, players that are getting team of the weeks in League Two will get sniped up by League One and Super League teams that are looking for additions. So I'll be curious to see if anybody else on this list has that happen this year.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll look back at this list at the end of the season and say, "Yep, half of them are no longer in League Two; they're Super League and League One." But again, congratulations to all these players, and definitely started out well on the season.
Yeah. So that's our League Two team of the week, number one. So congrats to everyone there. And as we close out our final thoughts here, I'll kind of show the leagues once again. Um, don't know what's wrong with the Super League graphic, but like I said, I'm not gonna try to mess with it and kill my computer. But I know a couple of you were asking to see that one again, so we'll look at that real quick again, and then League One, and then finish up League Two. So any thoughts on the Cup draw or Team of the Weeks or anything else going on right now in the league?
As far as the cup draw, um, we, like I said before, we have a lot of really juicy matchups. All of them are looking fantastic. And I think from what I've been hearing around the league, this is probably the first season as a whole that every three league doesn't, or all three of the leagues don't have just one, clear contender apart from maybe League One with Valencia. But there's about, I could say, 8 teams still in contention in Super Leagues, about 8 teams in League One, and definitely 5 or 6 of them in League Two could easily find themselves in. It's been a really fun season so far.
Yeah, I can't disagree. It's definitely. It seems like at least one, if not two leagues by now have a team that you're like, okay, as long as they don't blow it, that's the team that's going to win. And I know you're calling the league Valencia the League One favorites, and I think they are in first and they have the talent, but I think the teams behind them are good enough, and I think Valencia will be under pressure. So I wouldn't crown them quite yet. League Two, lots of good teams, improving teams that you know look like they deserve to potentially get that chance to go improve it next season in League One, and then Super League is ridiculous. So I think we'll see it in the cups all season long. I think we'll see it in the team of the weeks. I think we're going to see different teams and different players standing out, and it's not just going to be a couple teams at the top of each league really doing it. I think more and more the depth in the middle and the lower parts of the table is pushing. It's that's the biggest reason I think that the top of the table is closer is because there's not 5 or 6 teams that they all can just rack up points against. So I'm very pleased. Couldn't be too much happier with the way things are going. So yeah, so stay tuned. We will have a marquee matchup on Sunday, and we will have podcasts soon. I don't know if we'll get one out for Sunday, but in the next week or so, we'll have another cup draw next week. We've got the draft coming back next week, and it's a lot of fun. So Yeah, that's all I got. Scotty, you want to say goodbye to the people?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. For me, for Scarata, for Large Mighty Wad, for 6 Cow, this is a PCN Cup draw. Toodaloo!
Bye.